So again, I'm going to kind of pop over these because I'm going to actually show you this when we get in the code. But I wanted to put these in the slide deck in case any of you want to have this, so you would have a more deeper reference tool. So they did a couple other things for our staff folks here in the console view. You know, it's been pretty static over the years as far as what the columns were. Well, now you've got the ability to come in and not only change the order of the columns, but you can actually come in and add new columns, delete columns, so you can make this view be what's beneficial to you in your work environment. So that was a nice enhancement they made there. Also, and I use templates quite a bit. It used to be that if you wanted to see my list of either change templates or incident templates, you'd hit the return key in that field, and it would take you to a pop-up window, and you'd have to search into, is it IT templates or is it change templates or whatever. A lot of clicking. Now it's basically using the type ahead autofill type of technology. So as you type, it will show you that information. Again, small things, but it makes the workday a lot easier for your staff members. The other thing they did, for those of you who are using the SRM module, as we know, if a service request didn't fit like an incident or whatever, it would just default to the generic work orders, and that used to have a look and feel that was completely different from your incident console, your change console. Well, as you can see here, they've changed the look and feel of that work order console to now mimic what you're used to in the rest of your ITSM apps, so that conforms to that, and again, some details there. And the other thing they did was, again, for those of you who use service request management, that request ID that's generated when the service request put in wasn't always shown in the work order, and they've actually added that, so anytime I'm in one of those, I can see, well, the requester might refer to this as this request number, even though I've now maybe have a new work order that's used internally. So that was, again, an important link that the user community had asked for there. And then probably one of the most exciting things they've done is they've now added the ability out of the box to do email approvals using it. So if I'm an approver in, using the standard approval central logic within ARS, I can still log into Approval Central and do an approval through that. As I mentioned earlier, I can do it through my smartphone, but I now can get an HTML formatted email, and at the bottom of that email, it will give me the options to go to Approval Central if that's where I like to go, or I can approve it right here on the fly, and as soon as I hit approve or reject or whatever, it will then update that ticket accordingly. And this has been something that's been asked for a number of years, and it's finally here. I am happy to say. So again, kind of see that. And then just very quickly, I'm not going to spend much time here, but with every release, BMC gets a little bit better in what does it take to stand up a new instance, how quickly can we do it. We went to the single stack installer a couple of modules back, and it made life a little bit easier. And they just continue to make some improvements here to make things faster, to make it a one-step type of update. Some new panels that you've got there as opposed to having to do 3 different installs there. And, again, the overlay technology to making sure that you could do upgrades in the future without having to do a forklift, as we have typically done in the past, that was really introduced in 7.604. And so once people got to that, it was easier then to put in 8.1, and then just reapply your overlays. And they've just, again, made some enhancements in speed. The other thing that I would point out about both 8 and 8.0 is they've made substantial performance improvements in the mid-tier. As most all of you know, the Remedy client is no longer supported for the out-of-the-box forms, still supported for any custom apps that you may have. But and I think people's hesitation at first was it tended to be a little bit faster. But now that they've made the performance improvements at the mid-tier, I don't think that's an issue. Last slide, and we'll go into the code, is support now for IPv6, which is important for some folks. Bookmarking knowledge articles. Be aware that Atrium integration is kind of going away there. So Again, any of these slides that if you guys would like a copy of these, just let us know. Also, I should have pointed out at the beginning there, this is being recorded, so if you want a link to it, in fact, we'll send the link to everybody in attendance today, and if you then want to share that with some of your colleagues, feel free to do that. So I'm going to jump over into the actual remedy system now. And so first thing we talked about, of course, was the improvements that we added to the SRM, the Service Request Management module, where when I log in, I can see the status of all of my tickets. Notice here I'm having things advertised to me that the company wanted to bring to my attention, standard web page type technology. Again, my most popular knowledge articles, the most popular sets of service requests that we've got. Again, it's up to the individual. Do you want to look at it at this popular view, or you just want to go browse and look at file and print, or look at break fix on machines or whatever? But this bubbling up the popular one seems to be there. Again, I'll pull up one of these just to talk about. We talked about the may have timed out here. May have to log back in. One of the things they did is they streamlined the sets of questions and all that you could do as you went forward into that, so that'll do that. I think I've timed out here, so let me just leave that page real quick, and we'll come back to that guy in a minute. So this is 8.1 console view for staff member that I'm logged in as. Again, you've got your number sets of flyovers there. So let me just pull up an incident here real quick and show you some of those UI enhancements that we talked about as we went through there. So again, this is the way this has kind of looked from 7604 and on. So the main thing hasn't changed, but what has changed we talked about was that now I could add columns, I could remove columns to make my view here, my queue here, be more meaningful to the way that I wanted to be able to look at things. If I go in and I look at one of these, let's just find out one where my email service is down, for example. I'll just open up an incident and show you a couple of the things that they changed there. Notice here that if I am tied to a service here, now if I had the proactive net monitoring, if you remember the slide I showed you, there would be a little box here showing me the health of this particular service that BPPM or Proactive Net was monitoring with the red, yellow, green check marks. I obviously don't have that invoked here in this particular demonstration environment, but that's where that would show. But this is where we talked about if I wanted to see the service context and launch that about this particular service that I have there, it lets me know that with regard to email, the way my system is configured, there are a couple of services and CIs that are linked there. There have been a couple of incidents in the past 7 days. Looks like no changes in the last ones, no different work orders on there. So again, it just with a single click of a button, it gives your staff member who's trying to triage this incident, it gives them a little bit better look and feel there as far as what you were trying to do. And, of course, the other thing that's different from 7604 is I could actually launch the CI Explorer right from here. Most of you have probably seen this, but, you can do it, again, right from the incident form. It used to be that you'd have to relate that service CI in your relationships tab, and then from there you would be able to come in and do that. But they've now put that right on this page. So if I expand that out, you'll kind of get the better view there of what all is involved in this particular service that we have. So again, something else we just make available to that user from that incident management console there. And then the one other one that we talked a little bit about that I know a lot of people ask for, so even though it seems small, I'm going to show it to you. And that was in your template field. If I started typing in here, it kind of does the autofill based on my look ahead and can bring those up, which is a lot easier than popping off here where I'm going out and having to go through basically a tree format to get down to the particular template that I wanted to do there, right? So again, small improvements, but overall it makes a difference as far as what you're trying to do there. So one of the other things that we talked a little bit about was the new ways to do chat here. So I'm going to actually I'm logged in as Alan at the moment. I'm going to change my login to be one of the chat support agents here. So I'm going to do my support agent console that I've got here. So I'll be available. I'm going to do that. And then I'll also now come in as an end user using that virtual chat technology to give you an idea of what that might look like in a real session there. So I'm going to minimize this so I can have both of these screens up at the same time for you here. So we'll move that over to there. I'm going to loosen up on this email page. I don't need it. And then I'm going to launch virtual chat as an end user here, and we'll kind of see what that might look like. So launch that. It's going to ask me to log in. We do have a separate login for the virtual. So I'm going to log in as Mary here. And you won't be able to hear this because I don't have speakers involved, but basically what happens is you start an online dialogue. And again, this is like any other chat at any website you've done as far as the mechanics of how it works. You know, there's a chat box you've got here. You're asking questions. They're responding. It's obviously kind of date and time stamping that. But, you know, hello, Mary, my name is Jen. How can I help you today? And then here's the dialogue box here. And I could go, you know, how do I speed up Internet Explorer? Maybe that's my question I'm trying to find the answer to, right? So I'll send that. And this is kind of where some of the artificial intelligence comes in. This virtual agent can obviously access the Remedy knowledge base. It can also leverage the Microsoft knowledge base. And it also can leverage some little things called Microsoft Fix-Its, where that you know, they can come back and do it. They could say, run this, it'll clean up your cache. If I said, you know, Internet Explorer is real slow, you could do that. If I were to come in and type, you know, how do I share a PowerPoint, right? Did I spell that right, PowerPoint? You know, in that case, since it's going to recognize it as a Microsoft product, it's going to immediately give me a link to be able to go to Office Online where I could find those types of help. So nice little dialogue that you can carry on there. You can embed things like your company information about holidays, calendars, events. So it can be very very well done. But the thing that I can do as I go through here is as I'm going through this dialogue, if I want to change this and I want to go over and chat with a live agent instead, I'm not getting the answers I want. As soon as I do that, you'll see that what happens over here on whichever groups are monitoring that panel there, we're going to see that they're going to come in here and start to get the dialogue there so that they can carry on, you know, what's going on for that particular end user. And let me blow this up. Get the right level of the screen here for you. Let me do this real quick. This doesn't quite fit, so I have to go to the bottom. Virtual agent console. I don't know why that didn't come up correctly. And so now I can carry on my dialogue basically with what's going on here and help the end user. Again, you could have the ability to push patches, take over remote control, depending on what BMC tools that you had configured there. You would be able to do that as you go through there. So again, let me maximize that up and come over here to our primary console here, and let me show you the thing that we talked about the most, which was the change calendar. So if we come down here under change management and bring up the new change calendar, you'll see again that it's a quite different look and feel, more Outlook oriented in the way that we do it. Certainly a great improvement. So as you can see here, I've got different views. I'm seeing the color coding that we talked about as we went through there. I've got the ability to come in and look at it from a different perspective. So here's my kind of my day view, if you would. Here's my week view that I might look at. Here's my month view, which is where my particular default was as I went through there.